Hi, welcome to Chavis Photography, and today we're going to talk about white balance and why it is very important while you're shooting. Light is measured in degrees Kelvin. Now, the hottest and the whitest light is the sun, and the sun also, I think lightning is also close to the sun temperature, very white light. And that degrees Kelvin, I think, is 5,600 degrees. And from there on, it goes down in colors. There is also let's say shade underneath the tree. That's a cooler temperature, but not as cool. It's not as white as the sun. Then there is your house. When you walk in, you have lamps in your house. Those lights, unless they're bought to be pure white light, the average light bulb you buy would be yellow. But when you look at it with your eyes, it turns it to white. Okay. So then there's also fluorescent lights that are green, like the color back there. You have that green, those long tubes. But now you can buy those lights in white light. They use it for sun tanning, and actually film companies use it, or people who just want nice white light to get that sunlight feeling into them. So film picks up this degrees Kelvin and light colors. In your camera, there is auto white balance, or you can change it and set it up for the light situation that you're in. One for fluorescence, one for sunshine, one for overcast day with white light, with overcast, meaning because overcast, when it happens, the clouds get in the way and that white light from the sun gets dispersed everywhere, so it's all over the place. It's different. Then there's shade, if you're in the shadows of, say, a building or trees, that light's a little different. The flash is like the sun, there's that light. Or sunset and sunrise morning is a different light, it's very warm. And the reason for that is, even though it's direct sunlight, it is passing through all the dust particles at a lower direction of sunlight coming onto Earth. So it's going at an angle towards you, so it's covering a lot more dust particles. So it becomes very warm. Direct sunlight up to the top is a shorter distance between the atmosphere to you. So they say the atmosphere is like this around. This is Earth, and this is the atmosphere. The sun has a short distance this way. But when it's on an angle, it comes from over here. It's traveling all the way across a bit of the Earth into where you are. So it's traveling through all those dust particles. So it becomes warmer. So I'm going to show you some images. So I set my camera up in here, using just natural sunlight coming in from the sun, from outside through my window, and then I change the settings, all the different settings from different types of light. Okay, fluorescent will be green. There's other colors will make it bluer because the natural sunlight is very white, and I changed it to a bulb light setting inside, which will be warmer. So it will be bluer because then it makes the sunlight outside bluer because the film is adjusting for a warmer color to make your picture look white. So let me run this back for you. So the film that you would buy back in the day would be the film that is set up for that type of light. So if you're going to shoot outside, you buy sunlight light film, okay, in a sense. You buy film for like natural light, white light. And then when you came inside, you could still use that light, but you would get that warm colors from like bulbs and stuff, which is a nice ambient feel, which people do like. Okay, say we're shooting product material, and the model's wearing a fashion clothes that with this kind of color, and the buyer who's buying those clothes want to see the true color. You have to shoot it correctly so they know exactly what the color really is, because they have a color palette. And they say it's this color, and then they look at the photo, it looks more green or more brown. They'd be like, well, it doesn't match. So that is a problem, okay? So that's why photography, you have to have right lighting, right film, and right auto balance. We would use a white card, and it's got to be pure white, and that you would use to get the correct white balance. You need to have the white balance corrected so that you take a true picture. Or else you can't. I mean, people may not notice it, looking at, oh yeah, whatever. But people who are professionals who want the proper colors and things and want to see things the true color, you need to be able to white balance it correctly. And then once it's white corrected correctly, which is probably the thing you should always do, is then another person who gets it knows its white balance and can correct mistakes. I'm wearing black, okay? In this black, if you have the wrong white balance, this will change color. You will be able to see tinges of color in the black, which is not correct. Black is supposed to be black, okay? And white is supposed to be white, pure white. And you got painting difference, I get it, but this is what you want to have so you get the correct colors so people look correctly. Material, objects you take pictures of are the right color, okay? In today's world, we can correct it on the computer, mostly. This is why photographers will shoot in RAW, because RAW gives you a true uncompressed image so you can work and fix those mistakes. The best thing to do is to correctly balance the white and blacks before you start shooting. That way, you're not dealing with it later. Okay, so I'm going to run through one picture, the correct one, the first one, and then you can see how the color changes. I'm not doing anything except changing the white balance from light bulb to flash to fluorescent, and you will see the color changes. Okay, here's one here. It's very greenish blue. This would be the fluorescent one, and then now you can see it very warm here. And in this shot, you'll see how it's gotten warm, but it's still the same picture. It's still the same photo setup, still the white. It's the natural light coming in. I've done nothing except change the white balance to balance with bulb, fluorescent, flash, 55K, so you can see what can happen if you don't balance it correctly. The first one is the correct one. And then, in this next shot, you can see below if you look below the picture on the wall, there's a shadow, okay? So I turned on, with the light coming from the outside, natural light, I also turned on the warm lights in here to show you they're coming down. So it's yellow now. That yellow tinge is from the light bulbs, okay? Natural sunlight coming in, and now the yellow bulbs. And then still, you're going to see some changes when you hit the fluorescent and daylight. You're going to see how things change. So take a look at the color changes. So you need to go practice this. Go do it for yourself. I did this really quickly. It's a very simple, task. Just set your camera up, open up a window so you get nice white light coming in, or go outside and do it. Most of the time I leave it in auto white balance because I can always correct it in computers. With film, I did not make that mistake. With film, you have to be, because once you take it, like you're shooting a wedding, if you shoot it wrong with the wrong film, then you're in trouble. And the wedding's over, what do you do, right? So it's a costly mistake you do not want to make. So, but with digital, we're lucky we can go back and fix it. And yeah, it's nice to see things in its correct, true color and true form. So thanks for checking me out on Chavis Photography. That was about white balancing, which is very important to have. Next thing we're going on to is depth of field again, and how light travels and what happens when light travels. It slows down.